Who's this guy? Who's this guy? Huh? Who's this guy? Your Odyssey review sucks, he says. Who's he talking about? Well, he's talking about Ben Shapiro. Fine, he's correct. True, his review did suck. He's talking about Jonathan Pageau. I mean, I wouldn't say his review sucks. I didn't agree with a lot of it, but then again, there is someone else. Bottom left corner. Bottom left corner. Bro, I know what you're saying, but Metatron, he's entitled to think that your review sucks. Who is he, by the way? I'll tell you in a second. But he's entitled to think the review sucks. I mean, at the end of the day, de gustibus non disputandum est. As if you speak Latin now. Fine, yeah, of course. But here's the problem. He's factually wrong, though. My reviews. I have multiple reviews. Your reviews suck would be correct. Opinable, debatable, but correct anyways. We're talking about That Works, which is this channel, 838,000 subscribers, a channel about blacksmithing and bladesmithing and tool restoration and my reviews, apparently. But here's the thing. If you tell me that my reviews of the Odyssey suck, then I tell you that your blacksmithing is actually awesome. It is. Like, this guy and the whole team, whatever, really talented. Very, very talented. I think do a great job. So absolutely check him out. Check out the channel, subscribe, and all that kind of stuff. But anyways, let's see why he doesn't like. He's got awesome hair, by the way. I love that. That's heavy metal, all right? I love the channel.
Well, I never do this, but I got a bone to pick.
Yeah.
Today, we're going to review the reviewers.
Okay.
I just saw the Odyssey, and I have a lot of impressions.
Yes.
It's not very often that a film creates so much conversation and discourse online in the historical, streamer, and other communities. And I'm pleasantly surprised that all of a sudden it seems to be that I'm surrounded by scholars of classical Greece.
You know, this is, okay, so people have been saying this to that death. I agree. There is a lot of people who never really cared about the Odyssey up until it became a constituent of culture wars. I agree with that. It's a valid counter-argument. Not with me, because I've been studying and reading the Odyssey since, how old is he? I don't know, but since the majority of people watching me weren't even born. So there's that, but whatever.
What a pleasant world.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not going to talk about the movie as much, but I'm going to talk about the conversations that the movie has ignited.
Fair.
We are talking about the movie a little bit, but we're also talking about the myth itself. And out of the reviewers, I picked 3 with whom I have a bone to pick.
Okay, let's go.
Number 1 is Metatron.
I'm going to hear that again, though. Number 1, guys. Number 1. A Ben Shapiro, Daily Wire, millionaire. Who cares? Number 1 is me. Say it again.
Number 1 is Metatron. Number 1 is Metatron. Number 1 is Metatron.
I 100% agree with that statement. 100% agree. Metatron. What thumbnail is that, by the way? Because you didn't use that. So,
whose work I've been following for a while. The second reviewer is the
Thank you for watching. Appreciate that.
perpetually adolescent Ben Shapiro.
Perpetually adolescent. Sorry, brother. My Greek food. I mean it. I ordered Greek food. It's just arrived. So I'm just gonna go eat. I'll be right back. Perpetually. You know what isn't perpetually adolescent? His eyebrows. They never stop growing. Bro, I'm gonna prove it to you because you're like, now you didn't actually order Greek. Oh, we'll go some very Greek chips. Yeah. French fries. Call them whatever you want. Greek fries in this case, not French. What are you on about, French? Greek fries. Anyways, I got, which looks amazing. This is so good. Glory to Greece. Where's the bread? Bread? Mountain Dew. More like Mountain Greek in this case. Or not. We'll go Ben Shapiro. So Mountain Dew, I guess, will do as well. I'm gonna get demonetized, am I?
And the third one is my favorite, Jonathan Pageau. Each one of them has missed a big point about the movie The Odyssey as well as the Greek classics. And I'd like to correct that.
Okay.
Rage is defined by a state of uncontrollable anger. It also happens to be the first word of the Iliad, the prequel to the Odyssey, where all of the action is set up.
Iliad is awesome.
In order to understand the film and the reviewers, let's give a quick overarching plot of rundown of the Iliad and the Odyssey.
I'm gonna speed you up a little bit, though, if you don't mind.
It all starts out way before when Prometheus gives the fire to humans.
Oh, man, you're really starting from goodness gracious, brother. Oh, you like modern history? Well, let me tell you more about it. Let's start from the Paleolithic.
Like Stephen Fry interpret the fire to not only be the physical flame, but also the flame of the soul, desire for discovery, ambition, creativity. And in that reading, it makes sense why the fire would threaten the gods, because now humans are capable of rivaling them.
Cool.
A series of events, floods, and calamities occurs, and then the gods decide to entertain themselves. They decide to create a war that will annihilate the human race. For that purpose, the gods send humans Helen of Sparta. But she will become Helen of Troy later on.
She will become Helen of Congo. This is what happened
In the story, but she's supposed to be the most beautiful woman who ever lived.
Yes.
Woman who drives men insane. However, the war turns out to be so terrible that even some of the gods get wounded, and at the end of the Trojan War, the gods say, never again. This was too much. We will not interfere with the affairs of mortals again. However, the gods have a series of, so to speak, etiquette, which every single hero participating in the Trojan War has broken at some point. One of them was Odysseus, whose sin was hubris. He thought he could out-trick the gods, as well as lack of hospitality, theoxenia. The theoxenia part will play a big role.
Or xenia, if you want to say it in Greek.
In the movie, and this is kind of like a stumbling block of where all the reviewers mess up. Oh, by the way, the Greeks also forget to...
Okay, wait, so where did we mess up?
Hospitality, theoxenia. The theoxenia part will play a big role in the movie, and this is kind of like a stumbling block of where all the reviewers mess up.
Brother, I mean, if you don't think that my opinion, for instance, or the others, I'm just going to speak for myself. If you think that my opinion on how xenia was represented on the movie, that's fine, but that's not my main issue with the movie. You know what my main issue with the movie is? I think I've been quite... Helen of Congo, race swapping, modern political propaganda, a little bit of feminism, probably the worst of all, the armor, and the palaces, and the archaeology, and it's... I don't need to repeat.
Oh, by the way, the Greeks also forget to bury their dead correctly, which was a big no-no, and they forget to venerate the god and express divine mercy. Like in the example of Cassandra in the Temple of Athena, who was later on raped by Ajax the Lesser. At all points, our heroes are flawed. And the Odyssey follows roughly the track of the Odysseus. However, it is not chronological. Actually, Odysseus does not step into action until quite a bit later in the story, and the beginning of the story follows his son, Telemachus, going out and trying to find him and bringing him back because the suitors are harassing his mother, Penelope, and they want to take Odysseus' kingdom. Now, the story in itself ends with the words rage to an extent, and that will be missing from the movie. Just about when Telemachus is...
So you're doing basically a philosophical, literary, should I say, a literary analysis of how the movie is representing the original story in the book and the major themes. I guess that's where you're going. A little surprising, to be honest. I mean, I'm not saying anything, and to each his own, but since you recreate weapons, armor, I would imagine that you would comment on the horrific weapons. Well, the weapons are fine, actually, in the movie, but the armor, and it was awful, but that's fine. I mean, if this is the angle you want to look at, that's perfectly fine. In fact, but just so I'm clear, I'm still not sure what we did wrong in our reviews, but let's see.
He's going to start the fight with the suitors. Disguised Odysseus tells him to be angry is easy, but to be angry at the right time, in the right place, at the right person, that is a measure of a man. Different translations have it differently. Now, that is the main theme. The story starts out with rage of the gods. The middle is the rage of the gods and humans, and it ends with rage and moderation. I will be coming back to plots and subplots of the actual myth as it compares to what we see on screen and as it compares to what the reviewers are saying. I will be combining mythological readings as well as other readings that the Greeks in period had of this entire epic. Rage, as in rage bait, as in something what people do online in our current time.
Okay, sponsor.
Right now, let's look at Metatron's review.
Oh, no, never mind. I thought it was a sponsor. Okay, did I rage bait? I mean, a little bit. I'll give him that. I did rage bait, but I do believe in what I say, so there is that. Let's see.
A big part of Metatron's complaint with the movie is, A, lack of historical accuracy.
True.
Well, to be fair, the costumes in the movie are subpar.
Thank you. They're shit, but I'm fine with subpar if you want to be a little classier. Yes.
subpar, not even as historically accurate, but the fitting is bad, the materials look cheap.
Thank you.
And
Yes.
that was taking me away from the movie completely. I
Same.
hated the costumes.
Thank you.
But let's get over the poor costume history right now that we're experiencing in Hollywood. Metatron's second problem is seemingly the political decision to cast Lupita Nyong'o
Yes.
and others as Greek heroes. And
Yes.
to be perfectly honest, just seeing the trailer without seeing the movie, I did have a problem with the casting.
I appreciate that. So basically, I can already predict that your counter argument is going to be, but she was only on screen for 3 minutes and 48 seconds, and so why is it a big deal? I've already addressed this a million times. I don't even care. Maybe he's not saying that, okay? So I'm not going to defeat an argument if he hasn't mounted it. That's just what my prediction is.
It did look too modern. It did not look Greek or mythological. However, after seeing Nolan's vision and after understanding what he was trying to convey, the casting actually made sense in its own weird way.
Yeah, it does make sense, considering they want to replace every European from Europe with with Greeks from Ithaca. Bro, look. I'm willing to listen to what you have to say. Why, dude? Okay, so you're telling me, we'll see how he's justifying Lupita Nyong'o, a woman who looks nothing like an ethnic Greek, playing the part of a Greek. Let's see how he's gonna, not to mention Clytemnestra at this point. You say it makes sense. I already know what my response is gonna be to whatever you say. Why? Because it's always the same. You'll see, I'll flip it. That's all I do. But let's see.
There are two readings of the Odyssey in which I would agree with him,
Okay.
and the other one, I completely disagree with him.
Okay.
So let's start out with the reading where I would have agreed that the casting of Lupita Nyong'o and
Yes.
having an international cast that is visually international would have been outrageous.
Yes.
If the gods exist, they have a sense of irony. And that's what we see in the original Homer's work. Helen was the daughter of Leda, or the daughter between Zeus and the goddess of vengeance. That is a lesser myth, but it needs to be mentioned. She was born in Sparta. Spartan women were considered to be the most beautiful on the planet. So, having the most beautiful woman out of all the most beautiful women, she has to be the most Spartan woman who ever lived.
Fine.
Because Trojan men were thought to be the most handsome men on the planet, and Paris was the handsomest out of all the handsome men. So it is divine irony and divine balance to set up the most Spartan woman with the most Trojan of men. And both of them had flaws. Paris is incredibly cowardly and vain. And Helen does not follow wifely duties of piety and loyalty. So the most extreme examples of the respective cultures are set up for a devastating romance that will collapse civilization. Right? In this reading, if the gods exist, if we see them, it is important how you cast Helen of Troy. However, that is not what Nolan presents to us.
So let me get this straight. The gods don't exist, or perhaps they're a figment of imagination, which means we can racially swap the ethnic Greeks out of the... I don't follow the logical... There is no logics.
Nolan presents to us the reading that Helen was not actually the most beautiful woman on the planet. And that reading is not new. It was first proposed by Herodotus, who was traveling around the Mediterranean, finding the historical origins of Homer. And what Herodotus picks up is the Persian account of the story, who basically said, yes, we were exchanging women, and these crazy Achaeans freaked out over a chick who was basically mid, and then made up that she was beautiful. Right, so that is the account of Herodotus.
That's, even if that were the case, how does that explain a different race? Why couldn't it be a mid-Greek-looking woman?
Nothing new under the sun. The casting of Lupita Nyong'o in the Odyssey makes sense if she's not the most beautiful one and is foreign, an exogenous factor to the entire war that is made by Achaeans against the Trojans for economic reasons.
You know what's funny is that I don't do that, but the people that hate me, my haters, they would listen to you say that, and you know what they would say? They would tell you, are you saying that it's fine that she's not white if she's not the most beautiful? Then you could cast a black woman? You know how that sounds, right? Now, with me, I know that's not what you... I know that's not what you mean. It's funny, though, because there are people who are going to interpret it that way. They're going to call you a racist, which means we're going to share the same enemies, brother. We're going to share the same enemies. But let me entertain that for a second. It still doesn't make sense. Why can you not do that? She was just an excuse. She's not the catalyst. They just wanted the trade routes. Fine. So they made up the idea that she was gorgeous. Instead, she just okay. But why does that then say, oh, she's not the most beautiful, then she can be a black African or a foreigner? The foreigner. I don't get it. I don't get the connect. There's no logical continuity, brother. I'm not trying to attack you. I'm trying to be open-minded here. But like, I feel like you're trying to justify it. Like, you really, really, you know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of Nolan saying, I really want to cast a black rapper. How am I going to justify it? Well, let's say that, it was kind of a singing, and so poetry was sang. You speak it with a voice, and what the rappers do, they speak with a voice. And so, yeah, it's kind of the same thing. Bro, you're doing the same stuff. You're just trying to justify it. Why do I have to do backflips to justify a casting from a director, in fact, an entire culture, which is Hollywood, and even though we know why they're doing it, we know exactly why they're doing it. It's not the only situation. You are trying to figure out a justification of your own for whatever reason. I don't even know why you're doing it. But my question is, we know. The evidence speaks. We have data we can analyze. Hollywood has been race swapping in one direction for a decade now, probably longer. It's always race swap the white people from any historical, mythological, video games, anything you like. It's a constant race swapping. So what? Only this one, and within this context, this one was like, no, he actually did it because the reality was a trade route. So they thought, yeah, it could be a foreigner.
In fact, it accents the fact that she has no participation in the war and she's just set up.
No, it doesn't accent it at all. But all they've been telling us is how stunning she is. Bro, I'm not going to debunk you. Nolan is. Why did Nolan say he cast Lupita Nyong'o? Because she's mid? No, he said because she's gorgeous. So whatever maybe to you she's not. To you she's mid. I agree, actually. I think Sydney Sweeney is gorgeous, not Lupita Nyong'o. But here's the thing. Nolan disagrees. So if the director who chose the casting thinks that she is absolutely stunning, so I'm going to cast her for the most beautiful, and then I'll put, because maybe you don't know this, but I've made 75 videos about this, so I'm very familiar with what they said in the interviews. He said she is stunning and gorgeous. That's why they chose Lupita. That's what he said. And then on top of that, I add, and because she's black, DEI. Because they just have to race swap white people. That's a fact that I prove through data. But the fact that I can prove through their own admission is that they think she's stunning. So whatever you think, but no, it's fine because it's me. It's not what they chose. That's the problem.
She's a patsy. To cast a Greek woman as Helen of Troy and try to tell the story of her being on the outside of all these decisions would not have been visually obvious. And to me...
Oh, man, so audiences need to really be dumb. That's the idea. I mean, I don't think the audiences are that ignorant, dumb, because, I mean, a cretin at this point. Like, you're looking at it, and the guy is telling you, staring at the camera, it's the trade routes. It's the trade routes. That's why Agamemnon did it, that bastard. And then here is the audience. I don't know, why did they do it? I mean, she's Greek and beautiful, so isn't that the reason? Bro, they are saying it. So it's not like they're inferring it. They are actually saying it. I don't think that you need the next visual layer to really drive the point home that, she was not the catalyst. She was just an excuse. They actually want to trade us. How are we going to explain that? And then the audience is like, oh, she's black. That's why it's not... I don't know. You're entitled to your opinion, but I'm also entitled to my opinion on your opinion, right? You're responding to me. You say my reviews suck. That's fine. But brother, I really think what you're doing is that you're trying to figure out a way that makes logical sense in your head as to why you have to justify that they cast a black woman. There's no justification, just like there wouldn't be any justification if they take a real historical African character and they swap it with a white guy or a white woman, a blonde chick. There's no justification. It doesn't matter then that you start saying, no, it's actually fine because this queen of this area in Africa, Western Africa, she was originally black, but we want to give the idea so that the audience can understand with this white woman that in reality she was betraying her husband, and how better to represent that by putting a foreigner who's not really understanding the culture. It's just an excuse. These are just excuses. And would you, by the way, mount the same justification if the race swap was the other way around? As you know, I always flip it back. I always flip it back because no one can ever defeat this technique that I use on people. Every time they're like, no, it's good because this way, by casting black people and swapping everything, we actually get other black people to watch it, because otherwise they wouldn't be interested in Greek mythology or European history. They're like, what is that shit with white guys? But now that we actually race swap and put a bunch of black people, then that's when black people are gonna be like, oh, now I'm interested. Fine, then flip it. Would you be okay if a bunch of white guys are like, what is this, African history? I don't care. I want to see black people on screen. But then you're like, oh, don't worry, we're gonna race swap everyone and put just a bunch of blondes. Are you gonna watch it now? And they're like, oh, now I'm gonna watch it. Would you say that? Not in a million years. You can always flip it and win.
Seeing her performance, and I would have liked to see more of her performance, made sense what the story will be. It will be the story not of women, but the story of men, their vanity and ambition, and what brings to their collapse. Metatron's hypothesis is the casting and the director have made the decision to, in his words, destroy Western civilization, because in his words, we owe everything to the Greeks. I agree with the second part.
I appreciate.
I completely disagree with the first part.
Did you even check what Hollywood has been doing in academia, though, before you disagree? Because I'm not saying you can't disagree, but I have a lot of data to back up what I'm saying. They even put it in quotes in the articles about this. Western civilization, in quotes, like it doesn't exist. You may consider my word choice hyperbolic. I'm okay with that. But the core message is real. They hate the West. They think we are abandoned. Colonial powers, colonization. If you're white, you need to apologize. White guilt. White people don't exist. White culture don't exist. Reparations. I mean, I didn't make all of that up. You can't say Anglo-Saxons. Vikings were Muslims and they were not white. We are under attack. Western culture is, not to mention the waves of illegal immigrants. Did we make those up?
Because the grandeur of Western civilization is in its ability to impress other cultures. And quite frankly, the cast of the entire Odyssey is meant to convey something that I will explain at the very end, apropos other reviewers.
Okay.
And it is very important. However, there are parts missing from the Odyssey, and I will be coming back to them. In Nolan's Odyssey, the dialogue between Telemachus and Odysseus, where to be angry is easy, and to be angry at the right time, at the right person, in the right place, that's a measure of men, that is missing. So his story does not end with moderation of rage. But the monologue by Odysseus that our age is collapsing and maybe the new civilization will succeed us is...
He said our age of bronze. You gotta be specific here. I am expecting precision. The Bronze Age man said our age of bronze is collapsing. Can we focus on that for a second, of how much of a clown world this is, whoever wrote these dialogues? But forget the language for a moment and the formality. Our age of bronze is collapsing, says the Bronze Age man. I told you, it's like a medieval knight saying, I'm off fighting the 100 Years' War. How do you know it's 100 years, you muppet? Middle Ages, middle of what? From the perspective of a medieval man. Like, literally. Imagine, like, these prehistoric men going like, man, I can't wait, this freaking Stone Age is taking forever. I'm not laughing at him. I'm laughing at that, because you cannot omit that, the stupidity. You're reviewing the Odyssey, right? You can't, our age of bronze is collapsing. Plus, he said it's so serious. Our age of bronze is collapsing.
Talking about the future Greeks, the classical Greeks. Well, I'm sorry, the source material tells us how the future Greeks will succeed, by practicing moderation, by venerating the gods. And yet Nolan excluded that specific thing.
I love how he agrees with me that Nolan made a mess of the message, the gods, the interpretation, the literature. He agrees with me that the costumes are shit. He agrees with me with a lot of things. He agrees with me that we owe everything to the Greeks. The only thing so far he has disagreed with me is that he's fine with Helen being black, but the reasons behind it lack any logical consistency. I'm not attacking you, by the way. I'm attacking your argument. When it comes to you, I love your hair. I think you're cool. Some people are agreeing with him. Some people are disagreeing with him. This guy's saying mental gymnastics just to try and explain Lupita's. That's exactly what's happening. Metatron will enjoy this. I can only imagine that he loves your work and dedication to historical accuracy in your project. Yeah, no, it's fine. It's fine. I'm just disagreeing, but I'm not hating on the guy. So, yeah, no, it's fine. I'm having a good time. But as I was saying, there is a section, there are some people that say Your amazing weapons, stick to that, or you should stick to making swords. So like there were a few people that are like telling him, why are you talking about this, stick to this, stick to that. I disagree with that. If the guy feels strongly about this and really wanted to talk about it, that's perfectly fine. I don't have a problem with that. But so far, even though there are some people in the comments that are saying like, oh wow, this is such an amazing take, I can't believe that right-wing grifter Metatron blah blah blah, I mean, I don't see it. I'm not seeing any argument that it's actually not a forced justification for the casting. Also, Metatron is right, though. I agree. I agree, Tim. I agree with me so far.
Of the Greeks that will follow. And the exact part of the dialogue that sets up everything is missing from Nolan's Odyssey.
True.
Given this major flaw for the source material, focusing on Lupita Nyong'o for more than 30 seconds feels a little bit like we're not talking about the source material. And I love source material. I love the Odyssey and the many poems and plays in period and after that.
Perfectly fine. So you talk about the source material, and I will make 50 videos about Lupita Nyong'o alone. So I'll be the asshole, that's fine, as I always say, and then you'll be the nuanced take. It's okay, we all play our part in what we're doing right now, but the reason why I think it is worth to spend a lot of time on Lupita Nyong'o, as well as the sources and everything else, I mean, I've done that too, is because otherwise they'll get away with it and they'll do it again. Next time it's going to be the Romans. Then it's going to be whatever you're watching now, it's going to be your people next. And I'd rather it didn't happen. I'd rather they respected every culture and every race and ethnicity the same way, so that just like it is absolutely inconceivable to Hollywood to race swap someone who is not white with a white person, they will never do it. And if you even mention it, they're going to call you all sorts of names because it's a manipulation tactic of theirs. Then I would rather they did the same, and the same level of respect and protection for white people. So how about we don't race swap anyone? If no one pushes back, because you're not pushing back, you're justifying them. So how about you do the literary, since it seems, I mean, the guy sounds like he knows what he's talking about. It's very nice. So you do that, and I will fight the war for justice so that there is equal representation of people, that it's ethnically consistent, rather than, oh no, when it's white people, it's for grabs. I'm not okay with that, and I will fight for that because it is injustice. So I don't care that, oh, it's only 3 minutes, it's 5 minutes. Do you really want to talk? Is that what you're talking about? With such depth of mythology and literature, you care about the skin tone? No, it's them. They care about the skin tone to a point that they have to race swap it, and I am defending justice. Whether people like it or not, they can call me a grifter all they want. I'll continue to do it, because who else does it? There is a lot of people who are terrified of being called racist. Not me. You can count on me.
It created. As for the critique that the Odyssey, Nolan's Odyssey, is promoting political values, one reviewer has said we should prohibit Homer, and because he is corrupting the youth and promoting left-wing political opinions. The name of that reviewer was, of course, Plato in the Republic, written in the 5th century BC. So I'm glad to once again find out that the reviewers of the Odyssey repeat the same themes. It's very nice. Certain topics are eternal.
But it is true, though. Does that matter to you? So is this a way to say, you've been saying this shit for centuries, but it's not true? So it's not true that left-wing propaganda is literally invading media. At this point, I'd rather you said, yes, it's true, and I agree with it. I love it. Or I would have to disagree, or maybe we could discuss civilly as to why you think it's fine to force political propaganda onto people through the media that we love, ruining it in the process. But I would like to really understand why an anti-white sentiment, which is a sentiment of exclusion, it's a sentiment of derogatory attitudes, should be permitted. Would you have a problem if there is some kind of alt-right guy who has the power and money to make a version of a movie of the Aeneid where they are actually pushing for anti-black sentiment? Would you be okay with that? Or would you fight against it tooth and nail? I fight all forms of racism and hatred that is being pushed onto people through the media that we love.
I just cannot believe that someone like Metatron, who knows the classics, who defends the Greeks and the ancients, has focused for 45 minutes on the casting choice, but missed that the story from the Iliad to the Odyssey is the story of man going from primal rage into civilization.
I made 75 videos about this. I didn't make one review, and then you're like, but you missed this point. Yeah, you can find any point that has been missing. I can tell you missed stuff. I didn't hear you even mention the word bronze. I could say, I can't believe that a blacksmith, of all people, didn't even mention the original constituents in the type of armor. You just said the armor didn't look correct, but you didn't say bronze. I can throw that back at you. What are you achieving? I made some choices in my reviews that are based on what I feel is the most important thing, which is fighting injustice. You want to do the academic literary representation, I don't care, because Nolan missing on some high level literary analysis or component or device, it's not a huge deal, because anyone can tell you to that, well, but this is not theater, this is not academia, then go read a book or watch a class at university, this is just a movie. They can tell you that, so I choose not to focus on that too much, a little bit, but not too much. What I'm interested in is what's malicious. Did he maliciously misrepresent the original message of rage? No, I think he's just a fucking ignorant who doesn't care. Is it something I think it's valid as a form of critique? Yes, I don't have a problem with you criticizing, but I don't think it's the most important thing.
From barbarism towards justice, from excess, fear, and anger towards moderation and logic. Now, it is also a story of post-traumatic stress. In the original, you see guts spilling on the sand, and of course, Odysseus would not be the same. No one would be coming back from 10 years of that.
Right, yeah.
In that sense, it is relatable to all of us. If you want to push the movie to the left, you can say that it is in part about the current events in the Middle East, Israel and Gaza, the rage of Achaeans when they enter Troy and shred and torment everybody and kill as much as possible and burn. That is very familiar. However, to me, it is much closer. After the war in Ukraine, Bucha, where entire city was plundered and destroyed, and after the texts of the wives of Russian soldiers who said, kill those women, kill them, mercilessly assault them, was shown. It's the wives of soldiers telling the soldiers to plunder and assault women. I can't help but think about Penelope to be the villain of the story.
Penelope is the villain of this. Again, you're projecting a lot of what you're saying. It's an interesting analysis and connection to very serious topics that have to do with the modern current situations of war. And my heart goes always to the people that suffer, no matter their race, no matter their positions or their nationality. If they suffer, and if they're innocent, my heart goes to them, particularly the children. There is a lot of projection. So you're entitled, if this is the way the movie spoke to you, there is no right and wrong. But if you tell me that our reviews are wrong, but then a lot of this is your own projection, including the whole situation with Lupita Nyong'o, that's not factual, it's subjective. And you can't use a subjective element to decide whether someone else is right or wrong. And this idea that I don't appreciate, again, I have nothing against you. You're focusing on the race swapping? You're focusing on the skin? Is that really all you care about? At the very least, you're so superficial. But there's deeper things. I think that's an intellectually dishonest way to attack an argument. The argument is very valid. Why did you race swap? This is a question that we should be able to always ask anyone, particularly when we feel then there is malice underneath. And there is malice if you consider the fact that the progressive side has been continuously demonizing white people, all the way up to self-loathing whites that are liberal and say they would absolutely understand the extermination of their entire race. I think it's not right to try and go to someone and say, why do you care so much about race? I don't. It's the people who race swap. It's the same situation with when in video games they removed male and female perfectly viable terms with body type A, body type B, and then whenever you say like, but why did they remove male and female? They tell you, why do you care? Why does it matter? Well, it mattered to you. You are the one who changed it. It's such a superficial thing, and there are deeper things. There are deeper things, fine. We'll make a separate video about it. But it's still a very legitimate question to ask to these elites that hate every single one of us.
For 10 years that Odysseus was missing, she's been hearing stories of what happened to Troy, and she still wants him. To me,
I'm sorry, that makes her the villain. That makes her a wife. What? Even this, I disagree. It's fine. The wife wants her husband back for her son. What and herself. Yeah, she heard the people with. How does she know that he did that? And even if, I mean, he's a warrior. This is a Greek woman, right? Then you are missing. Since you told me I can't believe Metatron missed this, I'm gonna flip it back to you, brother. We can have a beer together the day after, but I'm gonna be. I mean, you were quite stern against me, so I'm gonna do the same to you. You don't understand that. Then, with all your thorough analysis of the literary context and the mythological, then you don't understand that the Greeks considered war to be both awful and heroic at the same time. As far as she's concerned, her husband is a hero. And to be honest, even outside the Greek atmosphere of ancient Greece, I think any wife would want her husband home and the father of her child. That doesn't make it a villain. This is the weirdest thing you could have said.
Is like one of those soldiers' wives who know what their husband is doing and tell them more, more, more.
You made that up. Yeah, that was completely made up. Anyways, I stand the ground, double down on everything I said. You did not change my mind onto anything. But thank you for the video reaction. I appreciate that. And have a good day.